And yes, I did know a stalker. I can kind of say I still do know the guy. Allow me to explain. First, let's cue the music and let the music set the mood. Okay, this is a guy I used to work with, and just seemed like any other, regular guy. He kind of had an oafish appearance. Somebody said lumbering. I mean, he was what he was. Okay guy. But like any other guy, you sit around and you talk about women. Well, he would talk about women, and I found out the relationships that he said he had, they weren't relationships. Because you end up asking, well, did you go out with the girl? No. Did you kiss the girl? No. Did you ever hold hands? No. Yet, as far as he was concerned, he was in the relationship with these particular women. As far as I know, he never meant anybody any harm, but he just had a problem with relationships. I don't think he ever had a girlfriend. Now, I don't know if I would call him an incel because whenever he got particularly thirsty, he bought water. And I don't think I need to explain that. So that's why I don't really consider him an incel, but he never had a relationship. And he should be in his upper 50s, maybe early 60s by now. One girl in particular, he chased after for about 11 years. And as far as he was concerned, they were in a relationship, but she just wouldn't act right. And it's so funny that he would say things like that about somebody he never dated. But that's the way he looked at it. He told me an incident he had with one girl when that he had met in college, and he happened to find out where she worked, and he popped up on the job in her parking lot. She saw him and took out running and hopped in her co-worker's car. Well, I don't know. With me, that's sort of an indication that she didn't like me. But as far as he was concerned, she liked him. She just didn't know how to stop playing games. And yeah, a lot of ladies do play games, but I kind of think if somebody hops in their coworker car to get away from me, I don't know. I think the games are pretty stopped at that point. Um, I mean, there was just a myriad of stories he used to tell me, and his rationale is it's not stalking unless you meant someone harm. So his thing was to pop up in somebody's neighborhood. Because one thing I gave him credit about, he was an expert at looking up information. But he would carry it to the extreme. Anytime he found information about a girl's family, he would look up that information. If he found out she had bankruptcy records, which apparently are public records, he would look up that information. All kind of things. He would just look it up because as far as he was concerned, he needed to know. I don't know how he needed to know in the case of somebody that he was. Okay, I gotta rephrase that. We'll talk about that later. But this was constant with this guy. And I remember the last girl that me and him talked about, she got engaged and came to work one day with her engagement ring, and he got highly offended. As far as he was concerned, she did that to offend him. Now, I don't know how you could say she did that to offend him showing, the fact that she was wearing her engagement ring. It just that's the way he thought. In fact, it got to the point where after she had gotten married, and he kept saying he didn't believe she was married, he popped up at a supermarket and basically cussed her out. Now she didn't know why she was being cussed out, but as far as he was concerned, she disrespected him. And he really believed that he was in the right to do so. This was his rationale. So he was a character, and part of the reason why me and him aren't talking today is because of that particular girl that he happened to bump into in the supermarket. And he had told me several times how he would happen to be in her neighborhood and she would wonder, like, what are you doing here? It would happen all the time. And well, he was a substitute teacher, and one day she actually asked him to substitute her class when she knew she was going to be out, which was really bad judgment on her part because it allowed him to think that she did that because she liked him. And, he would tell everybody about all these exploits. And he would talk about the girl over and over and over ad nauseum to the point where people would just tell him, I don't want to hear about her no more. After all this time, you and her aren't together. Why are you still talking about her? But that's how it was with this guy. He would talk ad nauseum. The thing about it, he would talk about it to certain women, and they would basically say something like, if you really like that girl, you're going to keep on trying. And that's the person he would listen to. She didn't know what he was capable of. So basically, she reinforced his stalking. I mean, it sounds weird, but that's the way it was with this guy. So, see, there's certain things he did that, okay, definitely anytime you chase after somebody for 11 years, there's a problem. But on the other hand, I mean, looking somebody up, because in reality, if a guy really likes a girl, it's only natural he's going to look her up. I mean, I can understand that. And if there's any women watching this, trust me, if a guy really likes you, he's going to look you up if that information is accessible to him. And if you ask a guy and he tells you, oh no, I would never do that, he is lying to you. If the guy likes you, he's going to look you up. My problem with this particular guy is that he didn't know when to stop. He would look the girl up, he would look up her family, he would look up schedules where he can pop up and just run into her. It was that kind of thing that caused problems. So it's only natural to some extent that he did look her up. But then again, he would pay, for bankruptcy records and stuff like that. That was the extent of him looking people up. And to a minor extent, I understand his ideal that, how can I say that? For example, there was somebody I was really crazy about, and I really adored this girl, and it just didn't work out. I mean, it never happened. And the truth is, if it wasn't for her, we would have been in a relationship. So I can rationalize that ideal to an extent, but somewhere you have to let go. And that's where me and him differed. He refused to let go. He just could not see leaving a girl alone who basically told him no. for years and years. And I know with the one he chased after 11 years, somebody had told him that as girls get older, they basically relax certain standards. And that's what he was banking on for 11 years. So it really lets you see how bad he was. So, what can I say? He was a stalker, and people might say, what were you doing hanging with a stalker? The truth is, I was fascinated. I had always heard about guys like that, but it was just the idea that this guy was here in the flesh, and he said things that I never thought I'd hear. I, I never thought I would hear him. So I did kind of hang out with him and talk with him because it was so fascinating to hear somebody that would talk the way he did. He really rationalized, going after somebody year after year. I remember back in the 90s, a guy shot up a Luby's restaurant because he couldn't get this particular girl. And I remember, me and my friend were laughing about the fact that what is it that makes somebody just go crazy because they can't get a particular girl? Well, as far as my quote unquote friend, I really don't think he was capable of that. I don't think he would hurt a girl. I don't think he would rape a girl or anything. But he would be capable of popping up. When she walk out the door in the morning, he would happen to walk in front of her house. She go to the store, he would happen to be in the same store. If she went to the laundromat, he would just happen to pass by the laundromat and be looking in the window. That's the type of thing he did. Now, do you consider that creepy or what? I mean, I don't know. He wasn't going to hurt her, but he just did not know when to say no to himself. So he was a different kind of guy. So is he an incel? Because like I said before, when he got particularly thirsty, he did pay for water. But does that still make him an incel? He was definitely a stalker. I'm not denying that. He stalked. Well, that's the story of my old buddy.